Hello, everybody. I'm Harvey Silverman, back for the October episode of the NGCOA's Golf Business Live Tech Talks, coming to you from sunny Redwood City, California, where weather is best by government test. Check it out. That's the city motto. And it's true. We have today the founder and CEO of a new on-course videography company called ReelGOLF. It's been around for a couple of years, but starting to make its mark now as it's expanding into more courses. We have with us the founder and CEO, Kevin Imes. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Harvey. I appreciate it.
We're glad you're here. We know that you're going to be at TechCon in a few weeks. You've become a NGCOA sponsor, correct?
Yes, that's true.
Very good. Very good. So, we'll remind people at the end of the show about TechCon. So I've had experience with clients in my marketing consulting that have installed what I call hole-in-one systems or holes-in-one systems. So the experiences haven't been all that good, and I'm curious to know what makes ReelGOLF different and better than what's been in the industry before.
Yeah, so we're really not a hole-in-one company for one. The origin of the product that we're making was really about capturing that on-course experience. It's getting that moment, that happens on every golf course in the world. And luckily, we were fortunate enough to capture a couple of hole-in-ones. So people think we're a hole-in-one company, but really, we're really about, elevating the on-course experience for golf courses and really bringing a really good video experience to the everyday player.
Okay, I get that, but so generally are courses installing this on a par 3, or is your system such that it can be moved around to different places around the course for events and things like that?
Yes, so our current product is really a permanent installation that is currently going on par 3s. Eventually, we see it going on different holes, so par 4s and par 5s, mainly tee boxes, so you can see your shot with Shot Tracer. But the initial product is designed to go on par 3s. We did several pop-ups, and that's probably some of the video footage that you're seeing around. And pop-ups are great, but we're now moving towards permanent installations that are underway in several different locations.
And what is the I guess the hardware or the system that you install? How is it powered, and how does it connect to the internet?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so we bring a system that is kind of plug and play. What I mean by that is we don't require any power from the course. It can be solar, or we can use a lithium-ion battery backup trickle charge from the sprinkler system. And then we create our own communication infrastructure. And what I mean by that is that our cameras talk to each other wirelessly. And then we have a hub that actually sends the video footage up to the cloud to be processed. And that'll be done via, right now, we're using Starlink to do that. And it seems to work really, really well in a lot of locations.
So you just got to hope that Elon Musk doesn't turn off Starlink. When it's traveling across, when the satellite's sitting on top of the golf course somewhere.
Yeah, let's just hope he's a golfer.
I don't think he is.
I know.
But anyway, so are there 2 cameras then set up?
Yeah. So the initial setup. So we have 2 different products, and we'll talk about the first product that is getting, or is seen to get good traction. And one is a down the line shot, which is what, as a golfer, you know what that's about. It's a camera's going to be behind the tee box. It'll record your shot on an outgoing ball flight basis and layer in Shot Tracer. What was really unique and cool about the system is that we have a green side camera that can find the ball when it's coming in using our AI and image processing, add that Shot Tracer to the ball as the ball lands on the green. And those are the 2 perspective views that we give. And then we have a reaction cam that can be layered in there as well to get the great reactions of all the golfers as they hit a great shot.
So potentially 3 cameras then?
It can be. It can be.
It can be. Okay. All right. And again, these are run primarily on with solar panels attached to the cameras?
Yeah, we don't attach them to the cameras. We discreetly place the solar, and then we'll power the cameras.
Okay.
But they'll be in the region of where the cameras would be installed.
Okay. So once that, and again, I'm going back on my experiences with other systems. Um, who's responsible for the maintenance, the cleaning of lenses, and things like that? I mean, the lenses get dirty. You're in an outdoor environment. It's dusty. It's dirty. They're cutting grass and all that other stuff. Um, I saw
Yeah.
this as a problem before with kind of smudged lenses from not being cleaned properly.
Right. Yeah, and that's a very valid point to make. And we actually were very selective in our camera selection process. We went through a lot of cameras, and we
Mhm.
converged on a camera that's made by Bosch. And that particular camera happens to have its own windshield wiper on it.
Oh, okay.
It does. So it cleans off the glass plate that covers up the optical lenses that are embedded inside of the camera. This camera was designed to go on aircraft carriers. It was actually designed to actually track jets as they were landing on aircraft carriers, so they could record, the landing
Mhm.
of a jet on an aircraft carrier. So then not a it's hurricane proof, it's bulletproof, and actually can work underwater if you wanted to. So it's a pretty cool camera.
So, do you send a crew out to do the installation, or are there installation instructions for the maintenance crew to do it themselves?
That's a great question. So we're responsible for the installation and maintenance of those systems. We there it's not as it's an easy installation, but it's one that needs to be learned. And right now, it seems to be that we should support that installation in connection with each of the courses.
So, as this gets spread across the country, do you find companies that can help maintain those or install those, or are you sending out a crew like we used to do for GPS systems? We'd have somebody go out and do all the mapping, and then somebody come back and do the installation on the carts. That was a costly endeavor in just moving people around like that.
Yeah, it can be, especially if you have about 125 carts that need to be maintained.
Right.
We're typically talking about two or three cameras that are installed one time. We do a quarterly visit to make sure the cameras are fine, but actually, our cameras are online and they're connected to our system. Our backend system does its own monitoring to see how the cameras are performing.
And they're you said they're installed discreetly. Is depending, I guess, on the hole and location and how it's built. Um, how difficult can that be in making sure that you've got cameras in places where the golfer's basically not going to see them, and there's no attempt to disrupt the hardware.
That's a two-piece question, but I think I know where you're leading with that particular question.
Well,
Uh,
I'll tell you my experience with it. I had a course right here and not far from me that put in one of the hole-in-one systems. They had a camera sitting on top of a 20-foot pole behind the green, and they came out one day and the camera was gone. Somebody had scaled the 20-foot pole somehow and unbolted the camera from the platform and removed it, stole it, and that was the end of
yeah,
that. It's just so I'm cognizant of how on-course technology can sometimes be usually these issues are alcohol related, and there's sometimes way too much of that happening on golf courses.
yeah,
So just where.
yeah. Well, first the cameras. You know, this particular camera that we have chosen weighs 30 pounds.
Mhm.
It's permanently mounted to a pole, bolted, um, and you know the camera can be placed as far as 100 yards away from where it's actually shooting.
Okay.
I was actually just in Michigan last week, and we're designing a solution for the winter sports industry. And in order to track a skier coming down a mountain, we had a camera 325 yards away, and our camera can track it.
Wow.
So these are not your everyday security cameras that we're deploying. And oh, by the way, when the cameras turn back on after being stolen, we know exactly where they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Okay, got it. The skiing thing's interesting. Maybe we can talk about that near the end, because that sounds pretty cool. So I was going through your website, trying to figure out what your business plan is. Who's paying for the system? Is this something that golf courses are asking golfers to say, hey, if you want to be recorded, you give us an extra $5 and we turn it on for you? Or I know you have an app and a QR code that they scan at the tee box, I guess. I'm just trying to figure out, because I wasn't really clear, who the market maker is on your endeavor.
Yeah. It really comes down to, we've got, well, first of all, from an activation standpoint, I'll step through that process, and then we can talk about, who pays for what and how to monetize, the video, for the golf courses. So the way the system works, and this is our ReelGOLF, what we're calling ReelGOLF Premier. It's our Premier system. Is that when a player arrives, at the hole that actually has our technology on it, they scan a QR code and it turns the cameras on. We actually don't have a mobile app anymore, so there's no app to download. All you do is enter your phone number and your name, and your name will be layered into the video that actually is going to be delivered to you.
So you enter that once you've scanned the QR code, it opens up a couple fields for your name and phone number.
That's it. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Very simple. No app to download.
Okay.
Once you enter that information, you hit record, you take your shot. And then by the time you get to the next hole, or shortly thereafter, we will send you a link to your video, for you. So you'll get to view your video while you're actually on the course within minutes of actually taking that shot.
Oh, cool. Okay. So, and that link is being sent to the phone number that you just entered in the field that you filled out once you scan the QR code.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Now, in terms of a cost structure, different courses have different objectives, and each course, will want to have it monetized in different ways. Some of our higher end courses or clients that we're working with, they don't want to charge. They don't want to use what we call the Disney model to charge people for video. Their brand is an elevated brand, and they want to provide an elevated experience. And they feel that nickel and diming people to get a video doesn't make sense. So the course actually pays us directly on a per video production basis. There are some courses that will be okay with using what we call the Disney model. And in those instances, we will send the video to the players with a watermark, so that when they decide that they actually want to pay for the video, then they can go ahead and pay for the video. The watermark is removed, and then they get the full version of the video.
So are they paying that? Excuse me. Are they paying that to you directly through their phone?
Yes.
Okay. But that doesn't happen with an app. So kind of explain to me that process. So you don't have an in-app purchase, which would mean that Apple takes 30% of it.
Right.
But you have a process where it's accessing their Apple Pay or Google Pay.
It will be, yes. It'll access Apple Pay, Google Pay, or they could just go ahead and pay with a credit card if they want to. It's a small, secure website that's actually deployed for them to actually pay for the video.
Okay.
It'll come along with a link that's actually sent to them.
And are you setting that fee, or is the golf course set the fee?
It's collaborative, between us and the golf course, and really needs to be volume driven. We've got to see what the market response is going to be for it. We do a rev share with the course after setting the fee. So that's their revenue generation opportunity for that.
Okay. So your two business models are, one, the course pays for the system and lets golfers use it as they please. Probably the higher end, like you said, the higher profile courses would prefer that rather than the Disney model. And the second is golfers pay not to have their shot traced, but to be able to obtain the video of their shot being traced.
Right. So we will send them a portion of their video that's watermarked. The two videos that are produced are the same videos, but we'll just send one watermark if it's not already paid for by the course,
Okay.
and then they can choose to pay for it if they decide to.
Okay.
I mean, you don't want to have a video of your water shot, when it goes into the
Right.
water on
Yeah.
TVC Sawgrass, do you? Or maybe you do.
Some people might just for there goes
For
another
sure.
there goes another Pro V1. So in round numbers, if a course has said, look, I just want to have this for my guests. I don't want them to pay for it. We have a signature par 3 hole that we want to set this up on, probably 3 cameras. Is there a round number that you work with, or is it just depending on how the installation has to be set up that determines the final price?
Yeah, you've got the cost of the installation that'll be rolled into the fee, but it doesn't vary that much. It's really based on volumes. If you've got a course that's doing 10,000 players a year versus a course that we're working with right now that does 60,000 players a year, the cost is going to be different between those two because video production cost is going to be there. But let's just take middle of the road. We've got a client that does 30,000 a year. That cost is going to come in anywhere from $3 to $5 per video if they're going to pay for it, and that's pre-sponsorship. Some courses are okay with actually having a sponsor like BMW or somebody else be a part of that. And with sponsorship, you can drive it down to about $1 to $1 to $2 per video with sponsorship.
Interesting. Okay. Are you bringing the sponsors, or is this something that the course will go out and find a sponsor, a local car dealer, or somebody like that?
Yeah, we're not sourcing a sponsor because the course is going to want to control the brand the way they want to. Now we'll help facilitate that, but we are seeing that a local sponsor to get their logo integrated as a part of what we call the outro video, sponsored by State Farm of Boise. There's an appetite to pay for that sponsorship.
I'm curious, you said that cameras can be set up as far as 100 yards away, and today with courses installing or building more tee boxes than we used to just have, red, white, and blue. Now we've got maybe 5 or 6 different tees with tee boxes spread as far as 100 yards from tip to front. How does that factor into your installation and the use of the cameras?
That's a great question. So the camera that we're using is a camera that has a 10x optical zoom internal to it. And we are actually able to see where people are standing on tee boxes. The beautiful part about our AI-enabled system is that now we can actually zoom into where they're at to be able to record the video as they're hitting the ball. The majority of courses, and I wouldn't say all courses, the newer courses there's a ton of them that are doing, multi-tiered tee boxes because visually it looks better. Your legacy courses typically don't have that issue. Your mountain courses all have that issue. So that it's case by case, where you're going to see it. But we have a solution for that if we're doing a multi-tee box deployment that's at different levels.
And then do you have just one station where they scan the QR code, or do you have to put that station on each tee box? So
yeah. So we actually don't have anything on the course that they scan. In connection with our promotion, you actually get a ball marker that has the QR code on it, and then when you get there, you scan it.
I see. So
less maintenance for the course, a nice takeaway for the players. QR code on a poker chip, and you scan it to get your video recorded.
So that's handed to the golfer when he checks in, says, hey, we've got this, maybe there's a poster or something that explains what this is and says, hey, you scan this when you get to hole 7 and you can have your shot videoed.
Absolutely. Yes. And we're working with a multi-course installation in Arizona right now where they wanted to have it integrated into, the GPS unit that's on the card itself. as a way to send a reminder, to show the QR code. So we're working on an integration there as well with a GPS display
Okay.
provider. So
Okay.
there's multiple ways that we can get it, but we're starting with something we thought would be keep it simple, stupid. Just hand them a QR code and say scan
Yeah.
this when
Yeah.
you get there.
I like that. I had a client that had one of the, I think a different system that put a kiosk on the tee box, and you paid $5, you scanned, and that thing just got the crap beat out of it. I mean, it didn't last long. It's amazing how much damage a 3-iron can do. Even against plexiglass that was fronting the front of the kiosk, and then
I don't think I think there is a group of people that really have a fine appreciation for golf course maintenance, and they see everything. It's amazing. Being in this industry, y- there's you're servicing the public, and anything can happen.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. That's been my experience with on-course technology. Is it's got to be bulletproof, and even then, people find ways to mess around with it. Same thing happens with GPS on golf carts.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so once they receive the video link and agree to accept it or pay for it, if that's the case, they're then, you don't have a way for you to send it to their social media posts. It's something that they do themselves, correct?
Yes, and it's actually what you want them to do. It's not something that we would be a part of, but we do track whether or not it's being shared into social media. So we have analytics on the back end that's going to be able. We can provide those to golf courses and tell them that, look, here's the number of videos produced or bought, and here's the number of times they've been viewed or shared, because we host the content ourselves in the cloud.
Okay, got it. Okay. Um, yeah, I saw this with when Gallus first came out with their app, and you could on the scorecard, it was pretty cool. On the scorecard, if you put in a score on the third hole as a birdie, a message would pop up and say, "Hey, do you want to share this on your social media?" And it would connect you very quickly with your Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And people said, "Hey, I just shot a birdie on the par 4 at San Ramon Golf Club, and I did this," and got immediate response back from people saying things like, "Hey, why didn't you invite me?"
Well, you gotta be careful about what you share sometimes. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Um, so, are you? When I saw the videos online, it looks. Are you using like a top tracer technology in tracing, being able to show that tracing line or stripe?
Yeah. So no, we invented our own way of using a single camera tracing technology. We designed on our own.
Okay.
It's really really cool. Actually, I'm going to show at TechCon. I'm going to be giving a presentation, and I'm going to show a little bit of behind the scenes how our AI does what it does.
Oh, okay.
So you'll be able to, if you're going to be there, I hope you're going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Come by the session. I think you're going to really enjoy at least the technical side of what we've designed. We're going to kind of let people know that, hey, it's not just a camera that's sitting out there. There's a host of other technologies underlying that actually work to make this happen.
Interesting. Yeah, and there is the opening session, I think, that morning, Wednesday morning, is about AI.
Right. Yes.
And how AI is I don't know if infiltrate's going to be the right word to use for AI and coming into the golf course business, but that's I'm looking forward to that session. And yes, I'm there also hosting a panel. We'll get to that in just a minute.
Great.
So it's really, I guess, getting back to my question about who the market maker is, you're going to rely on the golf courses themselves to promote the availability of ReelGOLF on the golf course? Have you designed marketing materials for them to use?
Yes, but the majority of our marketing is not going to be through materials. It's going to be through the course. When you sign up, they have to let you know, right? And actually handing the QR code on a ball marker is the first way that people are going to be like, hey, what's this for?
Mm-hmm.
But we do have another product, which I don't think we had an opportunity really to talk about. And we're doing an install of this product in Arizona, which is, it kind of, the golf industry is a multi-fragmented industry, with every constituent having its own priorities,
Mm-hmm.
which I totally appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
But earlier this year, we were designing a system to be able to actually see if we could measure the distance of a ball to a pin, and how accurate would we be in doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent our time. We were out on our ranch, out in central Texas, setting up a system on a virtual, well, not a virtual, it's a real hole, but full of cactus and everything, and trying to measure, how close can we measure from the pin to the ball. And it turns out that our cameras and our underlying technology underneath it can measure it to within 18 millimeters. So we said, wow, and that's out to 10 feet. So we brought this to a client in Arizona and said, hey, let's design daily challenges. Let's use this technology, including our video, and let's see if there's an appetite for daily challenges, to where if you came to a hole, we have two different games that we're playing. One is a daily closest to the pin competition.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay to play, or you can not pay to play. It's entirely up to you. You scan the QR code. It's going to ask you, do you want to play in the daily competition? Here's what your fee would be to play, and here's what the payout will be for the top 3 players. So that's the first product that we have created for this course. It's going to be deployed in November. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're getting really, really good feedback in our social media outreach, trying to determine whether or not there's going to be an appetite for on-course competitions. It seems like yes, there is.
Mm-hmm.
The second game that we play is a game called Ring of Fire. And what the Ring of Fire is think about, like, if you're, playing a simple bullseye game, the closer you get to the pin, you get a payout. So it's if you're within a foot of the pin, you could get paid $200. If
Mm-hmm.
you're within 10 feet of the pin, you can get paid $20. So it just all depends on how close you get to the Ring of Fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fantastic product. Again, getting great reception. This is yet another way for courses to see an instant opportunity to generate revenue. If their volumes support it, we pay them based on the number of people that actually play. So if 1,000 people play, we pay them a certain level of money. If 3,000 people play, then they actually share it, not in the revenue we're getting from the players, but in the opportunity to kind of grow out the number of people that are actually going to play in the competition. So their revenue generation opportunity will be fixed based on that.
Okay. So there is some revenue opportunities for the golf course in hosting these two different types of games.
Exactly.
Are these using the same cameras that you've already set up for the videography at a particular hole?
It will use some of them. So this is the Challenger product. You won't see it on our website. We're keeping it to ourselves for our Arizona partner.
Mm-hmm.
But it's called the Challenger product. It'll include up to 3 cameras around the green and 1 behind the tee box. Again, not every course it can support this, but for the courses that can support it, it's a really good opportunity for not only just revenue generation from the games, but it's really going to differentiate the course in the marketplace, because now they have daily challenges, and players, not all golfers like to bet on the course, but with my buddies, we're always betting something on the course.
Yeah.
And it'll be a really unique differentiator, I think, for courses to say that, hey, we've got daily challenges. come on out. We're doing daily payouts, play our course, and it really, really gives them kind of a really good, unique experience that's just not been done. It's really good for events as well. So now golf course managers, they don't have to worry about events now, and whether or not somebody actually took the little stick with the little piece of paper on it and moved it 5 inches closer because they wanted to win, right? So no, we're measuring it, and we've got the video and the AI to show that it's going to be at the distance that it's at.
Could you do long drives also?
We got to walk before we can run.
But somewhere down the road that might be a possibility, because I mean
somewhere down the road.
I've been to enough of those events where you look at the guy that posted the long drive and you say, there's no way. I saw this guy on the range. He can barely get the ball out to 100 yards. And here he is at 272, and it's like, okay, that's whatever. I know. Yeah. Well, there is something to be said about when you have, a camera that's actually recording something and keeping you honest. Yes, absolutely. So Kevin, this was really a short time period here, pretty thorough explanation of the things that I was curious about. And I think most golf course operators and owners who are watching this from NGCOA membership would be curious about as well. It's certainly much, much different than the other systems that have been out there in the past and for the most part failed, I think. And I don't want to, hang that possibility on you, because I think what you've done with not only the cameras and the hardware, but the AI and the potential behind it is multiple steps beyond whatever's been put on a golf course before. And I congratulate you for that.
Well, thank you, Harvey. I really appreciate it. My team has worked really, really hard over the last couple of years to really build something. And I'm a golfer, right? So it's gotta be unique, and it's gotta be really creating, and elevating the experience, for golfers on the course. So I really appreciate somebody with your tech savvy and the depth of knowledge that you have, promoting us and having us on your show. I really appreciate that.
Well, and we'll see you at TechCon, everybody. TechCon is October 10 and 11 in Las Vegas. If you haven't registered, you got to do it now, because registration's filling up pretty quick as we're getting down to the last couple of weeks before the event. We've got some great sponsors and event presenters with technologies that are going to help carry golf courses that deploy them and accept them to much higher levels than what we've seen in the past. And it's going to be an exciting couple days, and looking forward to seeing Kevin. I've got my own panel regarding golf management systems on Wednesday morning, which will have, I've curated questions from NGCOA members about their issues with golf management systems, which seems to be a hot topic every year. And it goes back 25 years. So I'm there, Kevin's there, and it's it should be an exciting event in a great city for this. Las Vegas is just a lot of fun to have events like this in. Kevin, thank you very much. ReelGOLF is at reelgolf.com, REEL golf.com, and if you're curious about it, want to see more, want to meet Kevin, discuss what he can do at your own course, come and see him in Las Vegas. We'll be there. Kevin, thank you.